Hi guys, it's me, Cattyface Punny. Welcome to the scavenger tutorial. I have already made a scavenger tutorial, but this is a new and improved scavenger pattern that I've created, so I just thought that it deserved a new tutorial. Of course, before I start, I would like to ask that if you do end up making something, even if you don't finish it, even if you think it's bad, please show it to me, because the reason I make these tutorials is I really hope that people use them, and I really just want to see plushies made with them. And I would be so, ecstatic. Anything, please. I'll have a Tumblr post linked in the description with all of the patterns, or you could just screenshot the ones on screen and print them out. But these are the patterns. Because all scavengers are different, I will have a section in the tutorial dedicated to teaching you how to modify your own pattern. But if you don't feel like doing that, there are some head templates I've made, and I've organized them in different categories based on how difficult they are to do. This is what you're going to need for the plushie. You're going to need fabric, you're going to need stuffing, you're going to need scissors, you're going to need needles, you're going to need threads, you're going to need clear tape, you're going to need a marker, you're going to need pins, and you're going to need something to fill the plushie with that's weighted, like pebbles or beans or whatever. I use plastic corn, but I don't think anyone else is going to be able to get that. Like snowflakes, every scavenger is different. Whichever one you decide to make today will likely look much different than the one I make in this tutorial, so I'm going to go over some pattern modifications you should do and how to do them. Okay, starting with the frill, you want to start by drawing this curved shape, which will sort of go along with what the back is doing. And then what I like to do is I sort of draw a guide for myself so that I know where to put the individual frills. And Cattyface advice here, you gotta call me Cattyface advice the way I'm about to give you some advice. Make sure that there is ample space in between each individual frill, because if there isn't, it's bad. You can't do that. That doesn't work. Okay, this is my frill. I cut it out. But actually, because my scavenger pom-pom is very special and has lots of extra frill, I'm going to give them 3 frills. So there's going to be 1 big one and 2 small ones because they're special and they deserve it. Okay, FaceTime. Hey guys, it's FaceTime. So what you're going to do with the face is you're going to tape that thing onto some paper. It's going to be on the paper, and you gotta draw antlers, but if you do it on only one side, then you can flip it, put it in half, and then just cut one side, and then they will be symmetrical, and it'll be awesome. And I put a beautiful gray line in the middle of the pattern so you know where to fold it. You wanna know a fun fact? Some scavengers have little rat tails. If your scavenger has a little rat tail, then you can do stuff with the pattern to make that happen. My guy, Pom Pom, does not have a beautiful little rat tail, but I have some pictures on screen of what you want to do if your guy does have that. You just got to extend both the side body piece and the bottom body piece. I don't know how much. You can kind of guesstimate it. It doesn't matter that much. It's body time. I'm straight up body maxing it. I'm about to show you guys how to make the body. Woo! First step. For the body, you gotta choose which stomach you want and which arms you want. Some scavengers have gradients on their hands, and some scavengers have tummies that are different than the rest of the color of their bodies. My guy Pom Pom has the same stomach color as the rest of their body, but they do have an arm gradient, so those are the ones I'm gonna pick. Okay, now forget about the arm. We're not doing that until way later. Get the side body piece, the bottom, and the stomach piece, and cut out 2 of the side body pieces, 1 of the bottoms, and 1 of the stomach pieces. Apologies if this image is too zoomed in. You have to join the 3 pieces at the point. You have to join them at the point where they all kind of have that little pointy section. That's so that you can join them. And you also do that on the other side. Okay, once the points are joined, then you can join the 2 intersections that I'm pointing to in this video. Once that's joined, you can join the stomach and the upper body section, kind of where I'm showing in this video. And you also have to do it on the other side. You have to do it on both sides. That's so joyous. Great. Once that's done, you join the 2 back pieces together. But make sure to stop at this little point that I've given. You kind of have to guesstimate it, sorry, but it's around there. When you're so done with that, you finally get to attach the bottom to the bottom. Awesome. Then you have the old classic, you gotta flip it inside out, but before you stuff it, you have to put your corn in, or your pebbles, or whatever you have, because I'm probably the only person that has corn, fake plastic corn. in my plushies, you'll have pebbles or something like that. Foot time, it's time to do the feet. Normally you would need to draw 4 feet, but for this you only need to draw 2 and just lay it on top of another piece of fabric, and then you can just like sew the top part. But if you are hand sewing, you might want to do 4 if you want. I'm not hand sewing it, I'm machine sewing it. Also, you don't have to stuff it. You can if you want, but I don't, so yeah. Once that's done, make sure to pop it onto the body. It's there now, on the body. Frill time, or you could do the frill later after you put the head on, I don't care, that's what I usually do, but for the tutorial, I'm doing the frill before I put the head on. Similar to the feet, if you have a machine sew, or if you're like confident, I guess, you just need to do one side for each. And again, similar to the feet, you do not need to stuff it, although if your frill is big enough, you might want to. I don't know what scavengers you guys are making. Oh, eepers jeepers, then you can attach it to the body. This is so joyous. Rutro, catty face disclaimer here. This is catty face disclaimer. Depending on the scavenger you're doing, this can be really difficult. Like, the head is really, really hard if the scavenger has big antlers. Okay, that's your catty face disclaimer. I'm gone now. Whoa, who was that? Was that catty face disclaimer? Well, I hope you guys listened to that catty face disclaimer. Yet again, similar to the feet, you just need to do it on one side, and then you can just sew through the fabric. And also the thing to note about the scavenger head is that I think you should sew it all the way around and then just cut a hole in the middle to turn it inside out, because it's kind of difficult to find a good spot to like leave that section, and since the middle of the head's going to be covered up by the neck anyway, it doesn't really matter. The thing that catty face disclaimer was talking about earlier, the difficulty, is that if you have one with really long antlers or like spindly antlers that are very thin at sections, it'll be super difficult to turn inside out and stuff. A tip I have for stuffing it is by just like getting the tiniest little bit at a time and then shoving it in with like scissors or a marker or something. And it takes like a super long time, but you know, that's kind of how you have to do it. Once you're satisfied with it, you can simply attach it to the neck. But fun fact, I did it and I hated it because I thought it was inaccurate, so I ripped the bottom nubs off and I moved them down more. Hopefully you shouldn't have to do that because you did it correctly the first time, but you know, learn from my mistakes, I guess. Unlike the foot, you are going to need to do both sides if you do the 3-color arm. The way I mark the mirror images is all of the ones that are face up have a dot on them, so I can pair them up with each other. It makes it easy to keep track of. You straight up just have to like combine them together on the line, and then when you're done with that, you can kind of just sew it like you would sew the foot or the head or anything. It's not super difficult. It's just time consuming. Also, you're gonna want to make sure to sew to the little marking I made on the pattern. I gave you guys a little marking on the pattern. That's where you want to sew to. Then you need to simply turn it inside out and stuff it. And I would recommend doing something similar to the antlers where you just push in really small amounts of fluff at a time into the fingers, so if you wanted the fingers to be a little bit more defined. Also, this isn't marked on the pattern, but then you do want to cut a little bit off on the inside, a little swoop off on the inside to make it connect to the body a bit better, and make sure that it is mirrored on both sides. Similar to the head, you will just attach it on and then sew it on. Pom-pom has famously very small eyes, so I'm not going to use pom-pom to explain to you guys how to do scavenger eyes. I will provide an example of a different scavenger eyes. This is blood orange. At the time of filming this tutorial, I will not have finished blood orange. I'm just going to be doing her eyes for you guys. The way I do eyes is I just take a rectangle kind of around the shape that I want, then I'll round it out and like trim more and more off depending on if it's too big. I like to start with a shape that's too big and then trim it down because you can't really go the other way. Then what I do is I place that circle on top of another square fabric and use it kind of as like a pattern to cut the other one out. And I do the pupils kind of in the same way, and I like to attach the pupils to the base eyes before I put it on to the body. Then once you attach the eyes to the body, that's it, you're done, you finished it, you did your scavenger. You now have a little scavenger.